Hey everybody, I'm back with another Awesome Finds episode. Now, all of these records I'm going to show you came from about 3 different garage sales. The first garage sale I went to, it was one of those garage sales by appointments, which I've never been to, but I said, what the heck anyway. Turns out the guy running it, we have the same manager here in LA. He's another actor. It was really cool to meet him, actually. Without further ado, let's get into it. The first one is Bravo by Theodore Bikel. Town hall concert. It was kind of just folk music, and it one mic in a room, and I don't know, it's interesting. I just don't know if it's something I'm going to listen to again. Next up, we got a couple from a tiki room. Trade Wind Islands, Romantic Island Songs. This is a reissue from probably the 80s. It's got a barcode on it, but still pretty cool. And then I got Sweet Leilani. It's just Hawaiian music, I'm assuming. Then I picked up this odd record called Beach Boys. Wow, great concert. It's a terrible cover. I don't know what they were thinking. I haven't checked it out yet. It looks like it's that era where Beach Boys are starting to go downhill. Then I got the 80s classic Scandal featuring Patti Smith. Not the Patti Smith you're thinking of. This is Patti Smith with a Y. And this is the big song off of here was Warrior. I'm sure you've heard it before. Oh, I don't know why I bought this. Cher. This is a promo copy. It's on Geffen Records from 1987. I can't say I'm a fan of Cher, and this didn't really have a lot of the big hits. She's an acquired taste, I would assume. Ah, yes. Can't go wrong with a little Supertramp, Breakfast in America. This is a classic album, has a ton of their hits. Can't get enough Journey in your life. Great album. This one's not in the best shape, but I'll eventually find another copy for an upgrade. I got Randy Newman, Good Old Boys. I actually really like his music, and I never had an album by his. I only knew a few of his songs, like Short People, and obviously the song from Toy Story, so yeah, it's not bad. Then I got Poco, Picking Up the Pieces. I thought I would like this more. It's in a Unipack sleeve. It's just not totally my thing. In this later 60s, there was a big kick into folky, bluegrassy, country stuff, and that's kind of what this was, and yeah, just didn't resonate with me. I got 2 by the Youngbloods. Now this is the reissue, retitled cover called Get Together, based off their hit single. I think this is their follow-up album, and this is Elephant Mountain. Kind of 60s, late 60s hippie sound. Not bad. Then I got Buffy Sainte-Marie. I've heard of her name, never really listened to her. This is her with just her guitar, very stripped down sound. It's kind of folky music. She's an interesting character. I'd like to know more about her, but if you haven't heard of her, I don't know if this is the best album to start with, but check her out. Next up, I got Kathi McDonald, Insane Asylum. Now, she was definitely in the San Francisco scene in the 60s. Very interesting character. I'll have to listen to it again. It's a cool piece to have. Really good shape. There's a little bit of water damage here, but otherwise, I really like this cover. Then I got New Riders of the Purple Sage. I believe this is their debut album. And what's interesting about this band, it features Jerry Garcia on the pedal steel and banjo. And of course, you know him from The Grateful Dead. This is actually a really cool album. I really dug it. Then we got George Harrison, a solo album by him. It's in pretty good shape. It had this really cool inner sleeve that I liked. And I really like the labels here. And then it also came with this neat little insert with the lyrics. If you're into the Beatles and you don't own this, definitely pick it up. I love George Harrison. He might be my favorite Beatle. Then I got C-Train. I haven't listened to this yet. These guys just cracked me up on here. The mustaches alone made this an epic pickup. I had to get it. Kind of a weird cover though, I will say that. I-Bomb. Then I got Arlo Guthrie. I heard his name, I hadn't heard his music before. I love the fact that he's riding a Triumph. This kind of took me by surprise. I was a little off-put by his voice, but I think I'm definitely going to warm up to this. I love this shirt that he's wearing, and the album cover alone has made me want to get this, so definitely going to hang on to this album. Oh yes, Joe Cocker. I can never find this album in good condition. I had another copy that I got rid of that was in worse shape than this, if you can believe that. Oh yes, then I couldn't pass this up. I found another copy of Whipped Cream and Other Delights. Had to buy it. Then I got Commander Cody and the Lost Planet Airmen with Ozone. Now this is the album that features Hot Rod Lincoln, which I'm sure you heard of. It's probably their most famous song. This one is in really good shape. They also do 20 Flight Rock, which is one of my favorite Eddie Cochran songs. And lastly, I picked up this early Genesis. This was, I believe, the album right after Peter Gabriel left and Phil Collins was taking over on lead vocals. And it's actually not bad. It's definitely more of a mellow record. And it's cool to hear Genesis before they were the 80s Genesis. Okay, moving on. I saw an ad for a garage sale near me, so I thought I'd check it out. Turns out the dude's a longtime collector. His prices were a little bit higher than I'm used to, but he had really good stuff. First up, we have The Association. Now, I have another album of theirs. This one's got Windy and Never My Love, and those are great 60s pop songs. Couldn't pass it up. Then I got two from Sammy Davis Jr. This one is a live album at the Coconut Grove. Kind of a cool gatefold here. This, I think, is one of those ones you had to be there. I would have rather have seen like video of this at the Coconut Grove. Otherwise, it was cool. It was cool to check out some Sammy Davis Jr. And then I got As Long As She Needs Me. This was Sammy Davis in the studio, Reprise Records, which is Sinatra's label. I don't know if it's my favorite album of his. It's a quality effort. Then I got on the Impulse label, The Incredible Kai, Winding Trombones. I'm not sure if I'm even saying that right. I love Impulse. Impulse and Blue Note had some amazing album packages. Brilliant photography, lots of information, some really good shape too. I thoroughly enjoyed this album. Now this is definitely an oddball. Living Time, Bill Evans, George Russell Orchestra. Really out there, experimental, big band orchestra, kind of jazz stuff. This is not something you throw on to relax, but it's worth checking out. And look at that really cool, trippy artwork there. Then I got The Eggplant That Ate Chicago. Dr. West Medicine Show and Junk Band. The dude that sold me this was like, yeah, man, you gotta check it out. It's like jug band psychedelic music. So I was like, all right, I'll take a chance on it. I'm looking forward to checking this out. I still haven't heard it yet. Then I got The Promise of a Future. I'm gonna say this wrong. Hugh Maleskala. There's one song on here that I'm sure you've heard of. Overall, it's not bad. It's not my favorite album of all time, but it's pretty good. Then we got Build Me Up Buttercup by the Foundations. I know you've heard this song. It was featured at the end of Something About Mary. It's a solid record. I encourage you guys to check this one out. Then I got the Harvey Averne Dozen with Viva Soul. This is from 1968 on Atlantic Records. I believe this is a hard album to come by as an original issue, and this is a Rhino Records repress. It's actually really well done. I can't say this album blew me away. Maybe it's something I need to spend more time with. Let me know what you guys think. This is The Illusion Together as a Way of Life. This is an original issue, but it's got a punch in it. Obviously, it didn't sell too well. Pretty cool album. Check it out. Oh, now this was amazing. When I bought this, the dude's like, oh, that's such a good album. And I couldn't agree more. Perez Prado, Mambo Mania, fantastic album, original issue. If you're into 50s mambo kind of stuff, or even Perez Prado, this is a must own, fantastic album cover, and it's in really good shape. And then this, oh my goodness, Nat King Cole and his trio After Midnight. This has got to be my favorite Nat King Cole album. This is him, literally, I'm sure, after midnight with his bros, just hanging out in the studio and riffing on the music he has to play to earn money, but he's having fun with these standards. Oh, it's such a good time. Great album. Pick it up. This next garage sale, I knew this guy was a dealer. I'd been to this house many years ago and I bought some stuff off of him. And so I knew going in, I asked him, hey, how much are your albums? And he was like, oh, it varies. It varies. I was like, okay. It's gonna be one of these guys. I knew his prices weren't gonna be, dollar records. So I picked out a few. I think I had maybe 5 or 7 albums. One of them was The Fool, and I think he wanted $40 for that. So I was like, okay, I gotta put this back. And then he had another album, another cool psychedelic album that opened in the front. For the life of me, I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, I think he wanted $50 for that. So I was like, oh my gosh. So I made him a deal for $10 for these 3 records. First up, Frank Zappa, Apostrophe. The problem with Zappa, he has an amazing discography. There is so many albums. It's really hard to know where to start. And I didn't realize, because I don't really have that many albums by him, is that he's very much a novelty artist. A lot of his stuff was tongue-in-cheek for the most part. You love him or hate him, this album's actually really good. And I got the Ramones, Road to Ruin. This is in pretty decent shape. The record's a little less for the wear, but it played back fine. So I was stoked to get this. This is my first Ramones album. Really cool. This has got I Want to Be Sedated, one of probably their biggest hit, I would say. And lastly, from that same garage sale, I picked up Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. Now, what makes this so interesting is that this is a 1967 UK pressing. I was so stoked to find this. I love the high gloss. You can tell by this, the fold over here, it's very different from the Capitol releases. I also really like how there's a pocket here. So here's where the record would go, and then inside here is the pocket, and it actually had the cutouts. Awesome. So the record plays back great. I was just so stoked to get this album. And now I can listen to that run out groove that was cut out from the Capitol release. Check out my video if you haven't already. So lastly, this garage sale was a fluke. My parents and I we went out to lunch and then we're driving home and I had to go to work, but I was like, you know what, let's just stop here real quick. And sure enough, they had records. And again, I asked up front, how much are your albums? And he said $4 a piece, which seems kind of high, but honestly, the stuff they had was really good and he took really good care of his albums. So yeah, he did give me a good deal. I didn't exactly pay $4 each, but I was stoked with what I got. So first up is this Pink Floyd album. This is Umaguma, I think is how you say it. Again, like I said, really good shape. He kept all of them in sleeves, although he did notate his initials on every one of his albums, including the inner sleeves. I haven't listened to this album yet. I love this cover though, and it's a gatefold. And this picture is awesome on the back here. Love that. Then I picked up Bob Dylan's debut album. This did not sell well. This is a later reissue. I've heard that it's terrible, but I haven't listened to it yet. I'm looking forward to that. Then I got Van der Graaf Generator, Pawn Hearts. It's a gatefold. It's ridiculous album cover. It looks like an infrared shot, actually. This is kind of out there, man. It's just sort of kind of prog rock, psychedelic rock kind of stuff. Yeah, it's interesting. Oh yes, I was stoked to find this. Lizard by King Crimson. Really cool. I don't even know what you call that, Renaissance art. Haven't listened to it yet. Check out my episode on King Crimson and the Court of the Crimson King. Now, I've heard a lot of great things about Roxy Music, so I wanted to get into them. They had 3 albums by Roxy Music. 2 of them are live albums. I just didn't want to start with that, so I got Viva, and it's a gatefold. And this is on Polydor. I like these video shots, really cool. Haven't listened to it yet, looking forward to it. Oh yes, Oingo Boingo. This is an EP, it's from 1980. It's pretty cool, I love the cat on here. It's kind of what you imagine. It's Oingo Boingo. It's really good stuff. So then I got a 12-inch single of Wall of Voodoo with their big hit Mexican Radio. I love on side 2 it says there's nothing on side 2, which is not true. There's actually 2 songs on side 2. This is from 1982 on IRS Records. Check it out if you haven't already. Then I got this one called Surf City Underground. I didn't know much about it, but I knew that this is probably kind of a rare album because it's got all these bands I never heard of. It's from 1980, and the weird thing is it's on Blue Beat Records, which is based in Boulder Creek, California, which is very bizarre. So this is probably a regional record. I haven't listened to this yet. I'm really looking forward to it. These last 2 albums are 2 that I have been looking for since I was in high school. One in particular more than the other. So first up, this is the soundtrack to Dance Craze. I love this album art. So cool. So many good bands on here. The English Beat, Bad Manners, Madness, The Selector, The Body Snatchers. All live tracks from this film. Really cool. But, oh my goodness, The Specials, Ghost Town, 12-inch single. I'm going to call it a 12-inch single. It might be an EP. I don't know. This is something I've been looking for forever. And when I find it, it's usually pretty expensive. These are 3 of my favorite songs by The Specials. It's just, I don't know what else to say. I was blown away when I found this. I knew I had to have it. This is something I'm gonna hang on to. And it just goes to show you, you never know what you're gonna find at a garage sale. I mean, the guy was moving, he was getting rid of stuff, and boom, there it was. I'm gonna finish this off with a lot of printed materials that I also bought from the same garage sale. As I was leaving with my stack of records, I noticed in this other bin he had a bunch of random paper things, and I just said, what's the story on these? Are you selling these? He's like, yeah, make me an offer. And I was like, well, how about $10? And he was like, sure. So I had no idea what I was buying. I mean, it's crazy, all the stuff in here. Lyric sheets, inserts, someone cut out Abbey Road. I don't even know what this is for. Oh, this is for Tommy. And then you have this Led Zeppelin book, right? And then the Beatles, Magical Mystery Tour, Quadrophenia. And you have this program from George Harrison, Ravi Shankar. This Donovan thing, Don McLean, Devo inserts. Oh yeah, and I got Pink Floyd. The Pink Floyd posters. This is stuff that gets lost over time, and if you have a completed album with all this extra stuff, it just makes your album that much more valuable. A lot of this stuff I don't have the albums for, but it's something that I could either sell, or I can wait till I get the album, or in the case of Pink Floyd, I didn't have the posters, so now I got the posters. Now all I need is the stickers. So it makes that stuff easier, and you can buy it in bulk like this, then you can just sell what you don't want and keep the stuff that you do. Makes it a lot cheaper in the long run. So that's my big record garage sale haul finds. And again, I don't find records at every garage sale I go to, but when I do, sometimes you just hit it big. So I encourage you guys to keep digging, keep at it. You never know what you're gonna find. Make deals, bundle some records together, because more than likely people are just wanting to get rid of stuff. But let me know what you guys think. If you have an amazing pickup story, if you have an amazing, awesome find, let me know. If it's a video, send me the link. I'd love to see it. Well, I want to thank you guys again for watching. I'm your Vinyl Geek, and I'll catch you on the flip side. I wanted to get more into him, so that sounded wrong. I wanted to get more into his music.